Recording in progress.
Authentic lamas and embracing ever the glory of Dharma. May I perfect the quality of the levels and paths and swiftly attain the state of Vajradhara. Let's do the, sorry. Just take that off. The four limitless contemplations. May all beings have happiness and create the causes of happiness. May they all be free from suffering and creating the causes of suffering. May they find that noble happiness which can never be tainted by suffering. May they attain universal impartial compassion, free of worldly bias towards friends and enemies. Semchen tamje dewatang dewe jutang denpa juchik dungal tang dungal chichu tang trawa juchik dungal mepe dewa tampatang mindrawa juchik nering chaktang ni tang drawe tang Khenpo la nepa juchik. So today, even though a lot is going on in the world, we're going to do realizing the truth of what deep practice reveals to us. And this is the 5th session and the last one. Then when we come back, I will give you a new topic altogether. Not sure what yet, but it will come. So today I want to start with the story of the monkeys and the mango tree. Okay. Once upon a time, there was a beautiful mango orchard laden with ripe fruit. A band of monkeys passing from tree to tree saw the mangoes and entered the orchard, where they began tearing into as many mangoes as they could reach, dropping one after a few bites to go impatiently onto the next. Suddenly, one of the monkeys screamed as he was hit by a large stone. They all turned to see the orchard keeper and his assistants hurling stones at them. Don't blame him. The monkeys soon ran off to the safety of the nearby forest, returning as soon as the men left. But no sooner did they begin eating mangoes again than a hail of stones greeted them, and once again they had to retreat. This pattern went on throughout the day until most of the monkeys had sustained injuries. The chief of the monkeys called a meeting. Enough of this, he said. We come from a noble lineage of the monkey god Hanuman, faithful servant of Rama, but getting battered for the sake of some fruit does not feel noble to me. What can we do? The cleverest of the monkeys spoke up. What we need is a mango tree of our own. Then we could eat all the fruit in peace. I've heard that mango trees come from the seed inside the fruit. Humans put the seed in the ground and then a mango tree comes out. We can steal a fruit, put the seed in the ground and make our own tree. All the monkeys thought this was an excellent idea. So they sent a young, quick monkey back into the orchard. He dodged several stones from the orchard keeper, grabbed a fat mango and scampered back into the forest with it. There the monkeys dug a hole, put the seed inside and covered it up. Then they all sat expectantly watching the spot, waiting for the tree to come up. After 10 minutes, there was no tree, and some of the younger monkeys grew restless and wandered off. Then some of the older monkeys began to wander off too, until the chief said, get back here. What do you think you're doing? We can't wait anymore. There are all those mangoes over there ready to be eaten. Don't you understand? We'll get nowhere doing that. We need to wait for our own tree. I'm sure it will come soon. So the monkeys waited an entire day, but nothing happened. A second full day passed and still nothing happened. It isn't natural to wait this long for anything, said one of the monkeys. Let's dig it up and see what's wrong. Patience, said the chief. A third day passed, nothing happened. All the monkeys begged the chief to let them dig up the seed to see what was happening, and eventually he agreed. They dug down, uncovered the seed, and broke off the tiny sprout which had just begun to germinate. You see, children, said the chief, wishes do not come true overnight. Alas, we monkeys were not meant to be gardeners. We had the dream of a tree and the seed of one, but not what it takes to get from one to the other. And the band of monkeys wandered off, reaching for the closest fruit at hand. Now, why did I choose this funny story about the monkeys, because you all monkeys, okay? You all monkeys in your practice, okay? We haven't the patience nor the time to wait for our practice to produce little shoots, just little shoots. Never mind the fruit as a result of our efforts, okay? When we read the stories of the enlightened ones, their perseverance comes over years and lifetimes to get back to an enlightened state. Very admirable. We try a little and give up quickly, wanting it to be handed on a platter to us. Now think about that, because, often I was given this practice, this Dzogchen practice, funnily enough, by Taisitu Rinpoche. And I mean, I've been doing it since 2013. And there is quite a lot of progress, but it's not nearly where I want it to be. And I've got to be absolutely patient, because what happens is when you wait and you persevere and you do it all the time, eventually a shoot starts coming up, and then the flower, and then the seed. And I can't begin to tell you that it can be one tiny thing that just offsets your mind, which really helps to set you off. So it's an important thing, and you can talk about that next week as well. So we're going to go on to Nyoshul Khenpo's beautiful teaching on the meditational deities from the lion's roar. We'll talk about Buddhafields and what they really are, but there are two things to remember from this teaching, and it's really important whenever you think of it. One, it's overall called the lion's roar, because the lion is the king of the jungle. All the other animals fade away when the lion roars, okay? Similarly, when we examine the 9 yanas of the Nyingma tradition, okay, the Vajrayana, when we come to the Vajrayana, it then has 3 levels, and then a 4th one, which is almost out of the levels. So what happens is each level gives you a different way of perceiving the deity practice. So when you're at a particular level and you see, and you're working with the deity, sometimes it's me, the humble servant, and there's the beautiful deity. If you look at my shrine, you'll see all my beautiful deities, but I have to, so lovely up there, but I have to keep on saying to myself, but I am those deities. That's when you get up. I am those deities. So when you find yourself really attracted to a particular deity, it's because you are going to develop that quality for your life this time. That's the quality that is needed in you, that is, let's say, hidden from your human self. So interesting, because it's hidden from your human self, and that deity is who you really are. I mean, me and Tara, we really get along very, very well, and I mean, from day one, she was always, I loved her because she's got action accomplishment, and I wanted to be her in action. Well, I haven't managed to be her in action, nor to see her as some of these masters do, but I definitely really have her. And then as I got older, White Tara became extremely important to me, because somehow something White Tara had was a little bit different from the qualities of Green Tara, and I know I needed those qualities. She's known as the wish-fulfilling wheel, White Tara. And so when you become White Tara, when you really do the practice with great dedication, you start becoming a wish-fulfilling wheel. And how does that work? You walk out into the street and somebody needs something and you're able to give it to them. Or a friend asks you a question and you're able to give them the answer. You are just everywhere you need to be. It's such a relief. And then both the Taras have taken me to Guru Rinpoche, back to him, because it's really important for me to be in that mandala. So when we do when we do these practices, the lion's roar is right at the top of the Vajrayana practices, and it actually makes everything fade away. Now, it's interesting because I started on the Mahamudra path, and the Mahamudra path is step by step by step, even though it lands up the same as the Dzogchen path, but it's absolute little steps coming to things. And I knew from day one that these little steps, they irritated my particular being, not that they irritated is the wrong word, but, I wanted to jump. So when finally I was allowed to jump, it made such sense to me. But to a lot of people, it doesn't. But the lion's roar, when the lion roars, all the others fade away. The step-by-step process fades away when the lion roars. And the lion is when you awaken into your nature. And the best way you can do that is through regular practice all the time. The Guru Yoga, the deity practices, the Nondra that you keep doing all the time. And when you wake up to that, as Lama Lena says, she says, you're done. You're done with effort. It's not so much effort, it's effortless. It's your absolute ability to really go forward in the practice very, very effortlessly and without concepts. So that's the point number one, the lion's roar. You've got to see where you are. And then the second point of all these teachings is we are all pervaded by the three kayas, Dharmakaya, Sambhogakaya, and Niyamanakaya. We, all the worlds and the beings, dissolve, well, let's say unfold and dissolve within these three spheres. Now, when you understand it, they mean everything, because each of you has this essence, and that's what Nyoshul Khenpo is talking. You have this essence. It's your Dharmakaya. I'm going to open these windows. I closed them because I don't want to have a noise with the upstairs, but I need to open them. I need some air. It's getting really hot. Okay, they mean everything. The Dharmakaya, or our essence, that is the pure state of being out of which everything arises. When people say to me, Denny, your question about, the general consciousness, the communal consciousness, there is a communal consciousness, which Jung called the collective consciousness. But we are each responsible for taking our own karmic imprints and clearing them. So with the Dharmakaya, once you are in the Dharmakaya, you are there. And then the Dharmakaya emanates. It has a nature, and that nature is clarity, luminosity, awareness, knowing. The Dharmakaya knows everything. And it then gives forth with the Sambhogakaya, which most people can't reach. That's what we were talking about last time. It's the perfect state. You could call those Sambhogakaya Buddhafields perfect. That's the story of the Garden of Eden, where everybody's got abundance and everybody is free to have everything. And if you look at what's going on in the Middle East, I cry. I think what Donald Trump said this morning was so important. He said, this conflict has been going on for generations, not just now in this little war that's been happening. It's been going on for generations. Now, what do you do when you see it from an enlightened point of view and you realize that people have actually incarnated on both sides of the fence? I mean, they haven't only incarnated on the one side of the fence. People have incarnated on both sides of the fence to learn the lessons. What are the lessons? Sharing, compassion. The way our worlds are, there's enough space for everybody. And then the people who are wiser in these fields can help the people that are less wise in those fields. Why can't we get that? Why have we got to kill and maim and overrun territory? It's so sad. Now that Sambuca Kaya is the perfect level. What we were talking about last week is the 5 certainties of that Sambuca Kaya. It has perfect teacher, perfect time, no time, perfect teaching, perfect sangha, and perfect, everything is a perfect, all is perfect in it. That's what they got to in the Bible, the Garden of Eden. Why was everybody happy? And then what happened? How did we stop that? How did we stop that? If you're in a Buddha field in your mind, you've got everything you need. Absolutely everything you need. Okay. So from that Sambuca Kaya, the Dharmakaya brings the Sambuca Kaya, and then it brings the emanation body, the Nirmanakaya, which we're going to discuss this morning, and then go straight on to the Buddhafields. And the Nirmanakaya is really the emanation body that actually has unlimited compassionate energy. But we don't have unlimited compassionate energy. We really, really don't. And it has unlimited compassionate energy. And the point here of the second point I'm making this morning is that everything is originally and still utterly pure, but we can't see it because we've slipped into ignorance. Ignorance is ignoring the truth, which then leads, if you look on the wheel of life, ignorance plus what you decide to do with your ignorance, your volitional formation, your volitional activity, then leads to all how you look, how you are, what you get, all of those kind of things. Then whatever you get goes into the emotions, the yearning, the craving, the grasping. And then from that, you go back into rebirth with the suffering of old age, sickness, and death. And again, and again, and again. Suffering. And if you look now at the news, for those that have chosen to look at the news rather than come here, it's same old. Just the conflicts of people that won't use that compassionate activity, which is our really true nature. But it's blocked with ignorance. We can't see it. And I just want to say one sentence, and then we'll go on to the detail of it. One sentence of these teachings that Nyoshul Khenpo gives, it pertains to what our world system is experiencing today in the Middle East. Now listen to his teaching. He says, Samantabhadra, that's the primordial Buddha, that's your awakened nature. It's not a Buddha, it's your awakened nature. Samantabhadra has fully awakened to his own awareness. Ponder that. And as a result, all that exists appears to him as the Akanishta Buddha field. That's your Garden of Eden. Because he's woken up, he doesn't see. He sees what's going on, how people see it. Of course, he has to. But he doesn't have the pain. He sees everything as the Akanishta Buddha field. That means the Garden of Eden. We have the same awareness as Samantabhadra Rigpa, but we don't recognize it. So Samantabhadra shows us the path through his emanated forms, which appear in limitless worlds. So simple, but we can't get it. I mean, isn't it amazing that if you had that awareness, what would you be seeing? Would you be seeing all this bloodshed? Or would you actually know? Because the Buddha had to see what we see, but he also had to see from the Akanishta pure Buddha field. That means you have a pure vision. And there's abundance for everyone. There are no starving people. There's no need to hurt somebody. Why? Because all the people who are leaders, so to speak, those are the people that have attained to that level. Therefore, we automatically have respect and dedication to them, and we work with them. But how will we get our world like this? There's such conflict, there's such whatever. And actually, I mean, when you see the American president and what he's doing, he's the only person that could do this peace process, because he really understands the mentality of people that are not very, that have got wrong intention. I don't think anybody else could. I don't think a nice, dignified guy who didn't have any ego could actually negotiate this. You may disagree with me, but really, so interesting. So that's how Samantabhadra sees it. Why can't we see it like that? What do you think of what I'm saying? You know, I mean, it's so important that you see it now. Anyone want to say anything, ask anything, comment on anything, please? Okay, the totality of the limitless deities, he says, is inseparable from the wisdom mind of Samantabhadra. And he says, pure realms of the three kayas encompass the entirety of all the pure realms beyond measure. They created through Samantabhadra's aspirational prayers and activity for the purpose of teaching, training, transforming, and liberating sentient beings. In these places and times, there appear the Buddha of the 5 families and all their possible entourages, all the deities of the 5 families, all of which are included in the 100 and peaceful and wrathful deities in your heart. Now, I had a dream, I think it was 2 mornings ago, and in this dream, and I kept going back and back and back, there was this cupboard. That's all I can tell you. There was this cupboard, and in this cupboard, there were 2 sections in this cupboard, okay? And when I woke up, I kept talking about the 2 sections. I kept talking about it, and then I would go back to the cupboard and see these 2, so to speak, suitcases of teachings in my dream. And then when I woke up, I said, what were they? The only thing I can think of that is relevant to me is that there is the mantra of the peaceful deities, of your 100 deities in your heart, and the mantra of the wrathful deities. The mantra of the peaceful deities has got bodhicitta, bodhicitta, mahasukha, janana, datu, ha, whatever it is. And the one of the wrathful deities is rulu, rulu, jo, It's like, come on, I'm going to hit you if you don't listen. And then you have to, I asked myself, so what was I seeing? That we actually naturally have this beautiful, compassionate emanation. But if we can't see it, then what has to appear in us are the wrathful form of the deities to hit us. They are our own negative karma. They are our own negative shadow parts that I'm talking about on a Tuesday night. They are shadow. They appear to remind us, to hit us, to give us a clap. So I was looking at these 2. They both compile 100 deities in your heart. Why do we need both? We don't really need wrathful deities, because the wrathful deities are the peaceful deities. But we need them because we just won't give up our bullshit. We won't give up our what we keep on seeing. We just won't give it up. It's really very, very exciting when we get this teaching and we really know what it is. So we talked about the Sambuca Kai, and you're welcome to butt in. The perfect
Yes.
form, sorry, someone would, yes,
I
please.
need to butt in. Mel, why do we need any of the deities, peaceful or fierce? That's my question.
Yeah, it's a very good question. Why do
Because
we...
I can't get there. That's why I'm asking you.
Okay, very good question. Because the deities are not deities. They're only called deities. So then we've got something tangible to relate to. They're not really deities. Just because if you look at even in the time, maybe they're not called that in every Buddha's sphere. But if you look at the time when Buddha Shakyamuni came to teach in India, they were all the deities of the Hindu tradition, okay? So people were used to, they still are. When I'm in India, you know, they've got all these superstitions, they've got Mahakala, they've got whatever, Vishnu, they've got all the different deities, wrathful and peaceful, you know, in their religion, and they follow and they ask. It's all master and servant, their deity. So the Buddha had to put it in a way that we could accept it. Now, if the Buddha talked about compassion, wisdom, wrath, you know, all the particular power, all these particular things, we wouldn't have taken any notice of it, Karen. But if he says Chenrezi, if he says Chenrezi, then we've got something. You can see my little Chenrezi right at the top of my shrine. I don't know if you can see. It's too small to get there in this thing. But if you see Chenrezi, then you actually understand. If you see my Maitreya there, Maitreya's got his feet on the ground, and Maitreya's future Buddha, and Maitreya represents kindness, loving kindness, Maitri. And so Maitreya is the one Buddha that represents loving kindness. But if you talk to people about loving kindness, yes, we know, but if you antagonize me, then, you know, I'm not going to take that quality. But if you've got a deity, so to speak, then you know that it's loving kindness. So if you want to skip the deity and go to the quality, please, like archetypes, exactly, Nick, like archetype. If you want to skip the archetype and just go to the quality, please be my guest. But the thing is that if you look carefully at the Vajrayana practice, Karen, if you look carefully, it's so amazing. Because when I read about Chenrezi on a Sambhogakaya level, then I've got in my mind how the compassion actually operates. So the whole of the Chenrezi puja, the whole of the Chenrezi sadhana tells you how he operates. He stands there and he stands at that Sambhogakaya level, and he just deletes all the darkness and just brings all the love and compassion and everything. So it's so helpful to us if you understand and don't see it as anything external. Does that help in any way?
Yeah.
Go on, Dan.
You know, the teachings.
When you're not talking, please go on.
The teachings of the Dharma, which is the pure gold of this group and other Dharma organizations, and there are 84,000 paths, right, to this truth, because of people are in different places. And like right now, I'm experiencing another Dharma group whose cultural interpretation and bias towards the events in the Middle East are 180 degrees opposed to the cultural interpretation and bias of this group. And these are all practicing Buddhists. So I need to pass that, like in this particular group, I need to pass that cultural bias out and keep my eye on the prize, which is the Dharma teaching, which is priceless. And then further to that, the Tibetanization of the Dharma and the cultural appropriation of Tibetan artifacts, which this group and many others but not all, put up on the pedestal to some extent, the language, even the accent, and then all the regalia. That too, I find not helpful. I find it blurs the pure teaching of the Dharma itself. And as long as I keep my eye on that, then I'm optimizing my chances for growth and understanding. But because I'm quite aware that resistance to these biases and cultural appropriations is the place for me not to get righteous and then throw out the baby with the bathwater. You know, I can resist certain biases and cultural appropriations and then not lose sight of the Dharmic teaching and the value that has. Yeah. So it's just very interesting to me now in real time, like on this day particularly, and I'm particularly affected as you are about everything that's going on in the Middle East. But there are a lot of Buddhist practitioners with different takes on what's happening right now.
100%. And you're so right. Just mute yourself so it doesn't come off. Edith says whenever we don't mute, then the picture of you remains and I get blurred out. So that's why it's important to mute. What you're saying is so important. And Dzogchen, he says, you're never going to be Tibetan. Okay, you're never going to be Tibetan. And some people really come to the culture of Tibetan Buddhism and, you know, adopt it. You are so right. But you know what? I think what you're saying is the same as Karen's question. We have to go beyond. But remember, the most important thing of all that you're saying is that it is the Buddha's compassion that makes him give us tangible forms, which is culture as well. Okay? That's why we're born. I can ask myself, why was I born into this race? Why was I born South African? Why was I born Jewish? You know, what was it? It's always according to your karmic need, what you need to clear. I mean, for me, if I hadn't have been born Jewish, for all the years that I was teaching in places that I was invited to, I wouldn't have been invited to those places. And those people that I was teaching, even psychologically, were people I had a karma with, and I needed to teach them certain things. And then a lot of them said goodbye to me when I'd finished, and there were literally hundreds of them, you know, over the years. But we each are born into the circumstances we need. And I know that when I said I'm coming back to Guru Rinpoche, that was when I identified not with the culture, not with Tibetan culture in any way, but with the mandala of the lotus family, which has particular qualities, pure qualities, nothing related to Tibet or South Africa or anything. And those qualities are the ones I need to develop now, okay? They're very, very important. And speech is one of the most important qualities. Sound is one of the most important qualities of the lotus family. And that's what I had to learn in this way, to give absolutely unconditioned, unbiased speech, you know, not to be biased in any way. And that's so hard when you're steeped in a cultural background. It's a very difficult thing because you can't help defending your own, but it's all a lie. It's all not true. And it's really important for us to actually understand this, that we go into that culture, because that's the culture that offers the introspection in our own karmic imprints. And that's very important. Look where all of you, Igor's in Poland, she's born Polish, and Denny's born Scottish, and we born South African. And, you know, each of you are born in a different way and gone to a different state, because those are the karmic qualities you need to finish off with to come to that pure state, which is not biased by anything. Very difficult as a human being, David. I agree with you. I really, really do. And I've got to really be careful when I'm teaching, not to give a bias.
But further to what you were saying about Guru Rinpoche, you know, I'm in Barrydale, which is in the middle of the Klein Karoo. It's like 300 kilometers from Cape Town. I'm walking down a little road, one neighbor away, look into an olive grove, and there is a prayer plaque from Guru Rinpoche. So if, you know, that was like, I was kind of struck by that as being auspicious to the neighborhood.
Wow, that's amazing. And you know what? You know what Ekon Rinpoche taught? You know what Ekon Rinpoche taught? Once he was teaching, and somebody in the group said, how do we go? And that's one of my topics there. How do we go to the copper-colored mountain? Okay. And you know what Ekon Rinpoche answered? I'll never forget this. Ekon Rinpoche said, why? They were in Zimbabwe or somewhere in Africa at that stage. He said, the copper-colored mountain, go and look for it. Right there. Okay. So you've got a copper-colored mountain in your background. I don't know if that's your real background or a phony one. But
Yeah,
he said,
these like the Langeberg and these Karoo Mountains literally have a copper color to them.
there you go. Now you need to go and explore that. And you need to find the copper-colored mountain, because the copper-colored mountain's not there and there and there. The copper-colored mountain's in your heart. And when you find something that relates to it, you are there. Karen, does that make sense to you? You are there. You are at the copper-colored mountain. Ekon Rinpoche said, find it in Africa. Find it in Tibet. Find it where they tell you it is. Then they tell you, Zongsa says, well, Guru Rinpoche's copper-colored mountain, it's where Pakistan was, part of Pakistan that was, you know, in the good old days or whatever, before they changed with the wars and everything. And then you go, right, I'm going there, I'm going to find it, you know, I'm going to find where Guru Rinpoche's copper-colored. You don't need to. Look in your own backyard, and there it is. Why? Because it's in you. You create it. You are it. So it's absolutely amazing when we look at this. Really is amazing when you look at this. So just to give you one or two things on the Nirmanakaya, okay? Remember that to be born in the Nirmanakaya field, sentient beings need merit and blessings of the Buddhas, of the beings, to meet at that level. Inconceivable number of Nirmanakaya Buddha fields exist. Innumerable world systems and universes within the Nirmanakaya realms, not just one. They arise from the compassion, and then they emanate light rays, sending all these wonderful people. Like I said last time, the mother sends all her emanations so that we will have absolutely everything. But the Nirmanakaya Buddha fields, or the Nirmanakaya, has 5 uncertainties, not 5 certainties. If you are able to reach the Sambhogakaya level, you have 5 certainties: right place, right time, right sangha, right everything. When you come to the Nirmanakaya, it's uncertain. When you read about Guru Rinpoche's Buddha field, you'll find uncertain things, because when I read Dajjal Rinpoche's version of it compared to the other version that I use all the time, his version of the Buddha field was very different, because he said, when you're coming to the copper-colored mountain, you have to pass the dark forces. So right on the outside of Guru Rinpoche's copper mountain are dark forces, and they try and stop you from going in. Now, if you are really enlightened, you will know that those dark forces cannot stop you. Once you see them as intangible, once you go, I'll go, rulu, rulu, je, I'll do the mantra of it. Mind, you know, you're nothing. You're just the emanations of my negative mind, my mind that's created you. So the uncertainty of the Nirmanakaya Buddha fields is because it's dependent on what you are able to perceive. If you see a demon or an ugly being with skulls and everything, and you go, oh, I'm going away, I'm so frightened, you'll never be able to get in. But if you look that demon in the face and go, I know you, I've confronted you all my life. You aren't anything. I'm pure. I can go there. You have compassion for it. I understand you. You're my dark shadow. But I can pass you very easily once I have compassion. So the 5 uncertainties can be pure or impure anywhere in the 3 worlds of samsara. So the form of the teacher is uncertain. He says myriad forms according to your fortune and capacity to train beings. They expound the relative and the ultimate, and all the different types of nirmanakaya. You might be desperately trying to cross a bridge, cross an ocean or a river. And suddenly you say, I didn't see that bridge before. A bridge appears. You better stop and look carefully, because that bridge is a nirmanakaya form that's just appeared for you. Or if you're sick and somebody offers you medicine, that could be a nirmanakaya. Or it could be a supreme nirmanakaya like Buddha Shakyamuni that everybody recognizes. They can come in any form to actually give you whatever you need. That's what a nirmanakaya is. And Amitabha, who was the monk Dharmakaya, he made the aspiration when he was a monk and cultivated bodhicitta. And he manifested Devacchen or Sukhavati. And through his aspiration, sentient beings, by praying to him, can be born in that realm. So if you believe in it and you are there, you can ask. When you die, even before you die, if you know your beautiful song, Ema ho nonsa sangye nangwa taye dan, sing it when you die if you lost. If you know it off by heart, it will take you straight to Devacchen, because he made the aspiration. Now, what's interesting in Nyoshul Khenpo's teaching is that he calls, I always heard of Devacchen, and Corin, you can comment if you want, Devacchen as a Sambhogakaya Buddhafield. But what I realized from these teachings is, unless you've attained to a particular level, you couldn't go there. I've sometimes read it, I think in Tulku Urgent Rinpoche or Zongsa, as called a nirmanakaya Sambhogakaya realm. But you couldn't get there unless you had attained to a particular level. So I think as Nyoshul Khenpo does it, he sees it as a nirmanakaya world, that if you die and you lost, just straight away start saying, Amitabha, I've loved what you have created. My mind is ready to be created. I really want to be exported to Devacchen. But if you've got doubt, you'll be inside a lotus for 500 years. I must teach you the sutra of Amitabha. You'll be born in a lotus because your doubt will hold you in a tiny space. That's why it's uncertain, because depending on how open you are, it could be certain or not. And so the 3 turnings of the wheel of Dharma by Buddha Shakyamuni, they're known as Nirmanakaya Buddha teachings. So he taught the sutra teachings at first. Those were the teachings that everybody could relate to. Do you know that there are 84,000 sutras? And you can get hold of a lot have been translated, and they're fascinating. And in James Lowe's book, This Is It, he does a lot of the sutras. I'm so happy he's translated some of them. So you can really see the lower Nirmanakaya, teachings of what happens in the sutra. And he says, the sutras give various outer examples, says Nyoshul Khenpo, of the quality of the Buddha, to help us understand the inconceivable vastness of these enlightened Buddha. Now, what happened was the Ushnisha, every Buddha's got this top knot, okay? Have you ever thought what that represents, the Ushnisha, okay? The top knot of the Buddha is actually the formation of the crown, which is a manifestation of his vastness of realization. Now, when 10th level bodhisattvas, those were people who really attained to a high level, they wanted to see how far the subtle Ushnisha of the Buddha extended. So they used magical powers and they followed it. And they flew through thousands of world systems. They could never reach the limit of space through which the Ushnisha extended. I'm shocking some of you because your eyes are wide open. Okay, I'm telling you what he said. He says that his Ushnisha went through thousands of world systems, never mind our little world system with what's going on in the Middle East and how we entrapped in it and everything. It's a drop. They followed the Ushnisha into thousands of world systems. Now think about that, okay? And they still couldn't reach the limit. And so that was his body, called the inconceivable secret nature of the Buddha, the wisdom bodies of Buddha Samantabhadra, Buddha Vajradhara, Buddha Shakyamuni. They're all the same in essence. So they had that. Then they had this very, very magical speech, the Nyamanakaya. And we can't even vaguely understand it because they can talk to not thousands, millions of sentient beings. And each sentient being hears it in their own language at their own level. And then the Buddha coughs. And the cough heals that one, heals millions of people. They all, whatever he does with his speech, if he, or anything with his speech, it's to benefit thousands and millions of sentient beings. So the speech is Buddha speech. It permeates the wisdom mind of all Buddhas. And he says, so when someone said to him, the Buddha, how did you manage to teach for over 80 years all the time? And this is what he said. Following my enlightenment till paranirvana, I did not speak a single word, but pervaded all beings with my presence. Not a word. The words spoke incessantly through him. He didn't make a single bit of an effort, like I'm making such an effort to give you all of this, because I haven't got Vajra's speech. But he had Vajra's speech, no effort. Wherever he was, no lack of energy, no fatigue. It just came through him. So the body with the Ushnisha goes through thousands of world systems. The speech is incessant, pure speech that goes on and on without any fatigue, reaching every single being all the time. Okay. And his mind, like body and speech, Tathagata's mind has the inconceivable secret nature. He's never moved from the Dharmakaya and its realization nature of Buddha, beyond effort, beyond doing anything, beyond existence itself. He's identical with Samantabhadra, but he's appearing for you so you can understand it. Do you all understand what I'm saying? Any questions or anything? So amazing, this teaching. And then he goes on to speak about Sukhavati or Dzogchen as a near Manakaya pure land, and how can you reach it? Any ideas how you can reach it? As long as you are in touch with the enlightened mind of the Buddha, the compassion to help you. Amitabha spent eons creating a place inside that would enable all of us to get there if we have the pure motivation. So if you die and you are lost, I really suggest you either sing your song, you know, Emma ho nonsa sanjinang, you either sing a song or you just call to Amitabha and you say, please, let me go there. I want to be born. I want to learn. I'll be born in a lotus, miraculous birth. I want to learn. I want to everything. And you'll be there in a second. Don't forget that. Do you all understand? Don't forget that. It's really important. You're all looking at me so crazy, okay? Absolutely crazy. We've got it. We've got the connection. Why? Because all of you are sitting here this morning and you're studying this rather than watching the news, which first of all is going to be repeated 500 times today for sure. And secondly, the news is just one little thing in the journey. It's going to go and it's going to come and it's going to go and it's going to come. But when you understand, how did we get there? How do we get to hatred and enmity? How do we get there? What went wrong? What went wrong? It was when we lost that ability and became ignorant, ignoring who we were, okay? And when we understand these Buddhafields, you know, if you look at Amitabha, Amitabha manifests in many ways. At a Sambhogakaya level, he manifests as the Buddha Amitayus. Do you know what Amitayus stands for? Long life. So he becomes the Buddha of long life, okay, in the Sambhogakaya level. So if you call to Amitayus, if you're wanting more time in your life, don't tell him you want more time in your life or White Tara. Don't say, I need more time because I want to see my children getting married and I want this and I want that. You won't be able to. But if you need a longer life and you call and you say, you know what? I need to attain more in this life. Then Buddha Amitayus might listen to you, or White Tara within you might listen to you and give you a longer time. When people are bargaining with me when they're dying, and I'm going, don't ask to see your daughter getting married, because that's not a reason for Buddha Amitayus to give you a longer life. But if you want to get more and more enlightened, you might have a good, valid point. So he appears as Amitayus on the Sambhogakaya level, but he also appears as one of the 5 Buddhas. You all know Amitabha and Pandaravasini, they are the Buddhas of the Lotus family. So he appears like that. Then you go, but who is he? Oh, but he also appears as Chenrezi on Sambhogakaya level and even on Nirmanakaya level. And then he appears as Guru Rinpoche on our level of Nirmanakaya. So what's this all about? It's that when you are awakened, you can manifest in thousands, millions of different ways for the different needs of people. For everything that you need, you can manifest like that. Now ponder that, because Buddha Amitabha manifests all 3 kayas in all different ways. And sometimes it's called Samantabhadra, Vajradhara, and the 5 Buddha families, and Buddha Shakyamuni. Sometimes it's called Amitabha Amitayus Guru Rinpoche, or Amitabha Chenrezi Guru Rinpoche. He appears in millions of different forms. We only know 2 or 3 of the forms. And then he goes on, because I want to finish and give you a little meditation. He goes on, there's no place out there. There are lots of Buddhafields. Did you know that they're Buddhafields of the Dakas and Dakinis? They call them the 24. I know I'm blowing your mind, but that's fine, because then when you get back and go to the television, you'll go, oh, well, this is just a tiny thing. You know, it's not the end of the world. There are 24 sacred lands of Dakas and Dakinis conventionally said to be in India. It's said that when you go to these holy places in your mind, You can meet dakas and dakinis, enter their realms, and attain wonderful accomplishment. Naropa went there. He wasn't going to a place. Sometimes you find it in your own channels. You'll find that place, okay? And one finds in the traditions of the Heruka deities for you, Karen, in the Anuttara Tantra, Chakra Sambhara, Kala Chakra, Hevajra, all of them relate to powerful demons subdued and liberated, and whose realms were taken over by the Buddhas. So if you want to go and visit the dakas and dakinis in their 24 sacred lands, ask before you go to sleep. Many of these masters, Rechumpa went there, Naropa went there. All of them go to all these things. And then he talks about the copper-colored mountain of Guru Rinpoche. He says, ordinary beings who have not practiced creation and completion stages of Vajrayana meditation are not able to fly off to the copper-colored mountain. He says some tertons, those are the people that discover all the teachings, achieve this by accomplishing the practices of creation and completion and went there in pure illusory bodies. Pure. Illusory, still gonna dissolve, but they went to all these things. So if you want to go to the copper-colored mountain like I do, he gives two things you need. Firstly, you need to purify your karma and obscurations and grasping to our ordinary body through the practice of the creation stage of the deities, Karen. So you need to purify your karma and all your muck and grasping onto this body as being everything through becoming a deity. So today, you were all medicine Buddha. When you created it out of the essence, you became the medicine Buddha. I think a lot of you were thinking about pouring that blue light over the Middle East and over all the tensions that are happening all the time, okay? And when you become that deity, you've got the ingredient to be able to go where you want to go after this life. Okay, and secondly, the inseparable of space and awareness within us must be awakened and actualized through the completion stage and through the great perfection. So when some of you listen to Lama Leno, and she talks about doing, Lena, and she talks about doing the Trekchor practice, that's when you just rest, which we're going to do now, in your pure essence and your pure awareness. If you went to sleep and you weren't aware, that's not it. If you are sitting and you're in your essence and you are totally aware, that's it. Even if you touch it for 1 second, even if you touch it for 1 second. So the blessings of Samantabhadra, Guru Rinpoche manifest the pure realm at the summit of the island of Shamara, southeast of India. Is it really southeast of India? You can find it in your own mind. And below him is the land of the Raksha demons. And after Tibet, Guru Rinpoche went from this world to prevent the Rakshas from overrunning our human world of Jambudvipa. Above the Rakshas is the light realm of Guru Rinpoche. It's a dreamlike manifestation that appears for the benefit of all beings. And I want to go there for one motive, because as soon as I get there, I just want to work. I told Guru Rinpoche that I want to be apprentice to Mandarapa and Yeshe Tsogyal, and I'll just follow behind them and do whatever they need me to do. But when you go to Guru Rinpoche, you know, when it says in the prayers to become the favorite child of Guru Rinpoche, it's not because you're getting lovely strokes. It's because you are told daughter, son, you will go and do this. You will go to the hell realms. You will go there, you will go there, you will go, and you enlighten sentient being. So when you have that very, very important motive, that's what going to there is all about. And just to say to you, and then we'll do the meditation, what he says is we are all sleeping soundly. And Samantabhadra is the one who is actually awake. We can't be brought to self-existing awareness by someone simply calling out to us, unless the voice and the message reaches us within our dream. We have to be aware. We have to be aware. Our awareness is so obscured that we cannot be awakened right away to that essence, to Dharmata, the natural state. To relieve us of suffering in our dream of samsaric existence, the awakened one must be able to enter into the deluded perception with which we are afflicted in our dream. So in a form similar to ours, so that we can relate to them. If the sleeping person does not apprehend that he is dreaming, he won't be able to recognize his true nature. The awakened one must tell the sleeping one, you're asleep. You're asleep in samsara. You're having a bad dream, okay? And needs to make an effort to wake him up. And eventually that person will accept to some degree that he's dreaming. And even then the dream won't disappear right away, only gradually. We need to make a connection with some Samantabhadra's awakened mind so we can awaken. So when you're ready to awaken, if you're not too shocked by my teaching today and you're ready to wake up, just walk out of here and see the truth. And say, if I was watching this from an enlightened mind, I would see what was happening because I would be able to see into the deluded mind, but I would know it was a dream. And soon it's going to be over. It's a lot, I know. I wanted to finish it because I'm going to do a completely new topic. But you're also welcome to ask me whatever you want. I'll send you the messages back by audio because he gives so much. Let's just do the meditation and then you can ask me if you want to ask me, okay? Every few minutes of the day, whenever you have 2 spare moments, sit in your meditation posture. And know that your central column is where you end the dream. Because all the energy comes into the central column and never gets disturbed. It's neither right nor wrong. It's neither a Buddhafield nor an ordinary. It's just who you are. Keep that energy there as you breathe in. If you do this 5 times a day for 2 minutes each, as you breathe in, there is your awakened essence, pure, open, spacious, blue in color, full of little awakened Vajra chains, full of awareness. At any minute, those awareness can create into a beautiful form. I want you to breathe that in and keep breathing it in a few times a day. Breathe it in. And then allow all the confusion, the things that are going on in the world, the wars, the enmity, the fighting, the everything. Just breathe it all out. The fight within yourself, the things you're worried about. the things you're angry, the things you can't understand, just breathe them out into the essence and breathe in again. Let that essence of the Dharma Dhatu fill you. Feel that you are in an awakened space, full of potential, full of purity. How can anything negative and impure come out of this pure space? Everything in your world comes out of this pure space, goes back into it. So just let all the negative things go, be, let them be. Keep coming back to Samantabhadra, your awakened nature, pure, open, spacious, full of absolutely everything that you need. Aware of the truth, awake, hearing the voice of Samantabhadra talking to you, Amitabha talking to you, Guru Rinpoche talking to you and telling you, here I am. Open your dream state in samsara and let me in. And here, take my hand and walk through all the difficulties of your life into the clear essence, space. Breathe it into your being. Remember to connect with it before you go to sleep at night. Remember to connect with it in the early morning. Remember to connect with it when you're going through a difficult time during the day. Connect and feel the well-being of this pure essence and the deluded dream of your samsaric life. And the ones that have woken up are the ones that know. They know the truth. They come into your dreamlike state and remind you. And when you go back into samsara and put your televisions on and see what's going on, remember, all of it is just a deluded dream. Yes, people are suffering in the deluded dream, but it's all impure, illusory body. The world, what's going on, is impure, illusory body. Never forget that. Always bring back your life to your pure, awakened essence, out of which only purity can be born. Let's just dedicate, burn, and then I'll be here if anyone wants to ask or say. I love what the two of you have said are very important. So we dedicate, if there's anything of this truth that can reach everywhere in the world, that can reach the people who are in dire straits, who really have to get back their lives, and the people that have killed and maimed, and the people that are really confused about things. We dedicate all these prayers, and for the same thing that's happening in the Middle East to happen in Europe, in Ukraine, let this horrible war over the powers of egos stop. And in Sudan, the starvation, and the things that people are going through, and in Gaza, everywhere in the world. If there's any merit from these teachings, we dedicate it. Through this merit, may all beings attain omniscience. May all obscurations fall away from the stormy waves of birth, old age, sickness, and death. From the ocean of samsara, may all beings be free. Sonam die tamche zipane topne nepe dranam pamshene jegana chibala dropaye sipe sole doa dro warsho. Just switch off that recording.